Right, question number 3. So, marriage in lockdown, how has that been?
Wow, it's been really good. I feel like the lockdown has been a blessing towards our marriage. It's allowed us to kind of quickly speed up getting to know each other and how we both function in our home, just learning about how you move as likewise as well. So it really has been a blessing in disguise. Yeah, and yourself, babe?
Yeah, wow. Definitely rest in peace in regards to those who have unfortunately passed due to COVID-19. But lockdown in itself it's been a good thing. I felt like a lot of the learning that would have taken 4 or 5 years, we have learned in a short space of time. It has been accelerated, so that's really been a blessing in itself. I suppose learning how to live with one another, because you heard in the news like things that happened when people were fighting due to lockdown, and there's an increased amount of violence because people are not used to naturally being together. We're so quite busy just going with our life and just running that rat race, so we don't really have time to build our family. So lockdown has been a fantastic opportunity for me and Rich to get to know each other, to plan things, to speak about topics that might take years. Like, I've heard horror stories of people not speaking about finance, or one person having a credit card that they've burnt up the roof, and there's just little things like that. It's just mad. So lockdown in itself has been a fantastic blessing. We've got to know each other, and this is all we've ever known. We got married just before lockdown, and here we are. We're still unfortunately in lockdown, but we're thankful. So it's been pretty good, yeah.
And I guess there also is going to be a transition from when we do get out of lockdown to living our everyday lives and our working schedules. So, but I guess it's just when that comes, we will kind of devise a plan or see how we'll just work around it. Yeah. Okay. Question.
Next question.
What do you enjoy about being married to me?
That's one of the most challenging questions, because I've got such a large array of different things I could say about you. But I think for me, it just really comes down to the character and the personality. Because prior to getting married, I made it clear, with friends and family, that what I don't want. What you don't want. We've all been, or hopefully everyone's been in a relationship in the past, and what you don't want. So I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want someone that I was gonna fight with. So in Rachel, I get what I really needed and wanted, which was somebody who's gentle, somebody who is kind. Her kindness has pretty much disarmed me, because back in the day, I'll come with my gun blazing, and that was never the approach in relationship. But with your attributes and your personality, it has pretty much disarmed me. It's just disarmed me and just made me a lot more caring. And I feel like you being kind and you being gentle has allowed me to kind of be kind, be gentle. So for me, I feel like it's changed me to be a lot more gentle.
Okay.
I think it's changed me in to be a lot kinder. I do enjoy, and I feel another part that people don't speak about. I can trust you.
Yeah.
I love Rach. You're kind, you're loving. You know what I mean? And I trust her. I trust her with my heart, my life. And so that that ability to just be transparent, that has been quite refreshing. That I can just be myself without feeling that you're gonna judge and destroy my life. Because sometimes that's some people's reality. Destruction, total destruction.
It's not
and
heard
that is not my life, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, what about you?
Well, married life has changed me in the sense of, like you mentioned, trust. Being able to trust that my husband can lead me in terms of like just running the household and our finances, our future goals as well. It's like now it's like I have a life partner that I've got goals to achieve, we've got aims to achieve, we've got things to accomplish, we've got the world to see, and it's nice having that. Because prior to meeting you, I did have that, but now that I do have like a companion that I can do it with, the motivation is there. It's even more. It's like if my motivation today is a bit less than usual, like sometimes you're just there as an encourager, and likewise as well. So I would say marriage has changed me in that sense, trust, and the fact that I can come back to have a discussion with you. It's also allowed me to be even more open, have a good conversation, and transparency as well. It's like I'm not afraid to tell my husband, hey babe, this and that. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So marriage has changed me in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm slightly confused there. Is it about what we enjoy, how are we married to each other, or how marriage has changed us? Because I felt like we were just blending.
Okay.
I feel like there's two different questions, and I felt like we just blended both of them together. So
is how marriage has changed us.
Okay.
Actually, to touch on it, I think marriage has also changed me in a sense where I'm more, I would say my confidence, I've come out of my shell a bit more.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because you're very sociable, just looking at the way you maneuver as well, I feel like that has also projected itself on me.
Okay.
And in a good way as well. So I feel like I'm also even more fearless. And I also know that I've got like my old G behind me that's like is rooting for me as well. So I'll say that marriage has made me even more fearless.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's encouraging. Thank you. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. Fantastic. Okay. So, is it my question or your question?
That's your question.
My question. Okay. What would you advise a couple that is dating and looking to get married?
Okay. First advice would be to be open and honest and transparent with each other.
Okay.
Particularly if this is the person that you are looking to marry. Do you know what I mean? Just having those conversations about the past, having those conversations that do make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's very important to discuss. I think that's very important to share as well. Because as you said, I think as we've had this conversation before, it's like knowing and understanding a person's character is very important.
Yeah.
And I would say on the female side, ask as many questions as you can. Yeah. I think that's very important, and not just ask one question and be like, oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah, let's move on next. No, ask the same question the next month or the next 6 months, because I think that's also important to understand that, hey, is the person still stating facts?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Are you saying exactly, not exactly, of course it'll be worded differently, but is it what we're talking about, or what the question that has been asked, is it the same, does it come in the same content as how it was mentioned maybe 1 month or 6 months ago? And another thing I would say is enjoy the process. There's literally no pressure, and sometimes as females we go, oh, we need to think about this, think about that. It's just being calm about it, enjoy the process, and trust that God has everything under control. I think that's very important, particularly for a couple that's dating. Yeah, and that's my take on it. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Wow. Okay. Well, what do I think? Advice. Again, I feel that I've been fortunate to be around people that have been married, and so there's a wealth of knowledge and wisdom that they've just thrown at me. So it really makes answering this question a challenge, because there's so much examples to draw from. But I do feel like, just to make it simple, 3 C's. That's how I would approach it, because obviously you're dating, and as Christians we know that we're dating to get married. So you're doing a good thing already. The fact that you're dating somebody is because your intention is to get married, so well done. But I think whilst dating and going through, I call it the information gathering stage, you just want to kind of like refocus back on the 3 C's, which are character, calling, and chemistry. And I think it's really important that it's in that order, because for me, what drew me to you is character.
Okay.
And I think that depending on your background and what you've been through, you would probably be a bit more sympathetic to different C's. So for instance, for me, bad relationships in the past, potentially I'm going to be a lot more cautious. I'm going to look at character.
Yeah.
Because clearly there's a character pattern that you're seeing. Try to avoid that. So character, and I think just 1 or 2, someone who's caring in general, someone who's honest and transparent, and somebody who is patient. Just a few. So you want to look at things like that. And I think in terms of calling, I think that's really important, because you kind of want to be aligned in regarding what direction you want to go. This could be in terms of as Christians and religious people. This could be like, are we going to devote a lot of our life in terms of ministry and traveling and evangelizing, or giving to the poor and looking after the broken and the this, the that. And if the other partner is like, no, that's long. What I want to do is travel to Dubai, LA, Vegas, and that's the kind of life I want to live. Then clearly your direction, your goals, they're not the same, are they? So you just got to be like, ooh, this is gonna, not that it cannot be tweaked, but it's just different. So I think calling is really important. You've got to know that you're going down the same path. And I think the final will be chemistry, and I think it's good that it's at the bottom, because it's not the most important, but it's still important. It's not the most, but it's still important. So it's not the most important, but it's very important in regarding, you gotta be attracted to the individual you want to get married to.
That's true.
They have to look a certain way. And now we know beauty is in the eye of to be older. However, some may argue that there is a standard of beauty, but then that changes depending on where you're brought up, the culture, race, ethnicity. It changes. So you've got to kind of like have that you're not going to find Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect.
That's true.
Impossible. Can never happen. There's no such thing. No perfection on this earth. But you can get close to what you like. And sometimes it might just be, for a woman, good height, someone who's strong. It could be anything, you know what I mean? But let it be that you find that individual attractive. You've got to be attracted to the person. So I think for me that would be it. But for those that may not even be dating, I think it's good things to think about, because a lot of times we don't really plan. We think about it, but we don't really plan. We don't have goals in regards to how we're gonna hit that, how we're gonna, work with that. What am I really looking for? What's really important? What's valuable to me? Can I compromise on certain things?
That's true, and sometimes we can be quite superficial as well. We have this ideology of like, oh, I want my man to be 6 foot with one bed that's just trimming like this, and he's dark and he's chocolate, and it's like, but you can have all of that, but the character, the personality doesn't add up. So you are right, chemistry is definitely important, but I think with your 3 C's, having an equal balance, as you mentioned, just having a very equal balance. And just another thing that I just wanted to touch on that I thought, I forgot to mention, was speaking to like other married couples is very important, especially if you're in that dating period. Speaking to ones that have been married for maybe 6 months to a year, just the different stages, and just like having good discussions, asking them questions, just being real about it. Like, what is married life at when it hits the 20th stage, or the 20th anniversary? So I think that's very, very, very important. And also, as I feel like, as for women, speaking to an older married woman, as she can advise you, I think that's very important.
Yeah.
And you can take some good gems from there that you two can apply to your marriage and see if it works. Yeah.
No, I like that. 100%. I'm gonna echo that. I mean, it's not even a matter of humility. It's just a matter of just sense.
Yeah.
You know, if you're gonna, in every endeavor of life, you're gonna read books, you're gonna speak to people, whether it's about buying a property, whether it's about, investing or whatever it might be, you're definitely gonna want other people to share their experiences and, to watch them, the danger, the pitfalls and things like that. So I kind of feel like with marriage, it's the same thing. Speak to people that have been married. If you are a Muslim that is watching this, then speak to people like your imam and things like that. But if you are Christians that we are, then you can definitely speak to a pastor. You can speak to someone in the church, a brother you trust, a sister that you respect and admire, or even someone you don't admire. Hey, check with them because someone who's divorced, like speak to them.
True.
Why? How? Little things like
what
that.
What can you learn?
What can you learn?
Yeah.
Like there's books, read books. Acquire knowledge. It's there.
Important.
I feel like these are all important things. So 100%. I think that's spot on.
Okay. What were your expectations before getting married?
What my? This is a big question. What were my expectations? Believe it or not, I had none. Yeah, I didn't have no expectations. And I feel like you don't need expectations in that regard. If you ask the right questions, if you ask all the important questions, then there's no expectations. Because expectations are things that you have within you. There sometimes there can be biases that you have. There could be unexpected things that things that cannot really be met by the other individual. So these expectations, I just feel like they're fallacies in my head. They're things that are not real until I can speak and ask questions to you, like in regards to cooking. Who's gonna cook? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, am I expecting my wife to just be cooking every day and cooking hard food? Boom. Or is it a thing where we're both cooking? Like, I should be expecting, I should be speaking. And so part of the data collecting phase of anyone who's in a relationship or looking to be married, you want to find out little things like that. Like, what are you thinking when you think of marriage? Are you thinking of a woman that's just going to be cooking? Are you thinking of a man that's just going to be doing 80 hours a week? Like, we've got to be realistic. And so that's why I had no expectations. And I also feel as though, even if I did have expectations, they would be very low. If they're low, hey, it's not a big deal. If they're not met, I'm like, well, they were low anyway. I wasn't expecting much in that regard. So I kind of feel like, keep expectations low, but better speak about them. Challenge your biases and what you think, because depending on our culture or background, we're gonna have different expectations, and some of them are just not realistic. So they must be challenged and spoken about. What about you, Debbie?
Well, I had a couple of expectations going into marriage.
All right. Cool.
Before we had this discussion and asking each other questions, I was like, I'm not going to be a wife that's in the kitchen from morning to night, swearing and just cooking all sorts of dishes every single day of the week. I was like, because come on, let's just be real. That can be frustrating, and also it's a lot of pressure to put on a woman, because usually it is the woman in the kitchen. But until we had that discussion, as you mentioned, it allowed me to understand that, no, Rach, it's not going to be like that. Like, sometimes I'm in the kitchen, whereas sometimes you're in the kitchen, and it works that way. I don't feel burdened to, oh my gosh, I need to cook for my husband. No, we do it together. We're a team in that sense. So that was one of my expectations going into marriage. Another thing was, I think it's all domestic expectations.
Wow.
Cleaning. I was like, hey, am I going to be cleaning? I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. I've got work to do. I've got other things to do. I've got family. I've got friends. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to juggle this? But as I mentioned before, it's just, like I said, having the conversations and also working out a plan. Plans work. Just being like, oh babe, can you do this? Well, I do that. And working as a team, as mentioned. And I think my final expectation was the unknown. I call it the unknown.
Okay.
It's like I had an expectation, but I didn't really know what marriage is going to be like. Because, come on, I grew up watching like 90s movies of marriages and this and that. And I've seen marriages, but for me and mine, I had an expectation, but I didn't know what to expect, if that makes sense. And that could be quite pressurizing as well.
It can be.
Because sometimes, for some people, sometimes with me, it's like, oh, I want to be able to do this and that. It's like sometimes we want to be pleasing to your spouse. And that's already an expectation on itself, because you're thinking, oh yeah, you set all of these high goals, but eventually down the line, can you still meet them?
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? You just get burnt out, I call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were the 3 expectations that I did have coming into marriage, but after discussions and clarity and how we both work together, that was just a thought process for me.
Wow. Yeah. I think just to kind of add to that, I feel like a lot of the times it could just be comparison.
Yeah,
I think comparison can be a dangerous thing as well. You look at what certain people have achieved and you're like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
And and then you have these unrealistic expectations that cannot be met. I think it's just wise to run your own race kind of thing. And just do things the way that you are, because every couple is going to be different. How we deal with things, conflict resolution is going to be different from another. And it's so easy to compare. We live in a day and age where we all might be doing it, looking at WhatsApp statuses or Instagram on Facebook or WhatsApp status or whatever is out there, Telegram, that's it, but there's just so many different things to compare. It's so easy to compare, and I feel like we should resist the urge to compare. Just have good, healthy conversations. Speak about things. Make sure that it's in an environment that you can be honest and transparent.
That's true.
And without no fear.
And keeping it real. Like really just keeping it real. Explaining and saying how you feel about things, and just trying to understand where each other is coming from.
So I think my final question to you would be just something I'm making up on the spot right now. Would be, where do you see us in the next 10, 15, 20 years?
Ooh, okay. In the next 10 to 15, 20, forever years, I see us starting a family.
Oh.
Yes. I see us starting a family. We would have traveled to a number of countries because we enjoy traveling. We enjoy traveling. That's a big thing for us. And having a nice home.
Yes.
Like I'm not looking for this large big mansion. No. I believe the people make the home.
Oh yes.
And I think even if it's work or whatever we're doing, being able to spend as much quality time with each other and with our kids and with our external families as well, and just building that unit. Like I feel like it begins with us, and I want it to just grow and flourish into our extended units as well. So that's where I see us in 10 to 15 years, as well as still being Christians. Die for Christ, we have to. And that's it. How about yourself, babe?
Wow, that's a very deep question, to be honest. 10, 15 years. I feel like I just want us to continue to love one another. To continue to grow in the love of Christ. That I would be, responsible for you. that I'll be sacrificial in my love, willing to lay down whatever it is, just to make sure we achieve whatever God wants for our life. I just imagine that we'll be a lot more, God willing, more able to impact whatever God has taught us into other people's lives, because our lives are not our own, and ultimately whatever we learn, whatever capacity we have, whether it be intellect, emotion, or material gain, it's because God has allowed it to happen.
That's true.
And ultimately it's not for us to be hoarders, but to ultimately disperse and just give to others. So that would definitely be something. And family, children, traveling, experiencing life, and being probably more hands-on in terms of the things of God. And I think finally just being financially free.
Oh yes.
Independent from any kind of government constraint or work. Just be able to do our own thing whenever we want to travel. If we want to stay at home for the next 5 weeks and do nothing, there's no worry, little things like that. So
So we are on our way to financial freedom. And we will document some videos on that.
Amen. When you say we're on our way, it sounds like we're just tomorrow there, whereas we're just starting the journey.
We're just starting the journey to correct. So and the goal is to retire early.
Yes.
The goal is so we're excited about that.
Retire early, yes, and have more freedom to do what we need to do. 100%. So I think that concludes it.
Yeah, it does. Okay, thank you, babe, for being on my channel. And this is our first relationship talks video. So I do hope that you enjoyed this video with me and my husband, Ade. And please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in my next video.
Bam! Okay.
Oh, the hand.
Yeah.